we go. So now we got the. Still see. No, this is live. All right. Okay, I'm gonna blow my nose. What you say you're gonna do tonight?
Huh?
What you say you're gonna do tonight?
I'll get my ass home and make dinner.
Yeah, but after
Nothing after that.
Okay, let's do this, man.
Alright.
Now, it's time for Star's Choice, and Pantera lead singer Phil Anselmo has just
Hello,
moshed his way
welcome
into the Metal
to
Shop
Third Eye
studio,
Heavy
so
Collector's
while I
Corner.
remove all the breakables from the neighborhood, I'll let Phil spin one of
Friday,
his favorite cuts.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. I'd like to hear Sinners
31st.
Fame by Trouble.
All right.
Slow,
We're getting going here. That's crazy.
heavy,
All right.
and emotional.
Sorry, people. I had some
Period,
problems
man.
there. I was originally going to do
This
this at
just
3, and we were screwing around for a
Trouble
while. Thought we were
rules,
done.
man.
We weren't, but we're on now. So we are live according to the YouTube website. My name is Sid, and this is my Uncle Jake here.
I'm going to say I'm not anymore. They know.
But he looks like my uncle, though, right? And today, on the Collector's Corner, we're going to be talking about some Pantera stuff and stuff related to Pantera. So, Pantera was a metal band that started out, got back in the 80s. I don't even really know, but they put out 4 albums as kind of like a hair metal band before they actually had their major label debut, which was Cowboys from Hell. And I'm pretty sure that was in 89. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then Vulgar Display of Power came out maybe 90, and then Far Beyond Driven,
Making Vulgar.
94 maybe. Yeah, Vulgar maybe was 92.
Thinking
94.
Cowboys was 90. I don't think it was 89.
Yeah, okay, 89. And so, and if you don't know the history of Pantera, well, that is when they updated their sound, changed their sound. Like I said, they started out as sort of a hair metal band. They put out 4 albums before the major label debut. The 4th one is when Phil joined the band, so previously on the first 3 they had a different singer. And Phil joined on that 4th independent album. Then they put out Cowboys from Hell in 90, and the rest is history, as they're now legendary. And put out a bunch of albums, broke up, and then unfortunately Dimebag was killed he was murdered when they were doing a show in a club in Ohio. And then Vinnie Paul, the drummer, had a heart attack at the young age of 54, I think, a few years back. And so this year in 2023, Pantera is doing a celebration of the music, as it were. Can't really, get back together with 2 members having passed away, and you kind of really hard to replace Vinny and Dimebag anyway. I mean, to find somebody to properly fill in there. So anyway, they got Charlie Benante from Anthrax on drums, and Zach Wilde on guitar, and they're out doing it. I think the closest date to us here in Omaha is going to be at Rocklahoma. Well, that's like 8-9 hours away, or I think there's a Denver date too as well on a festival. It's about 8 hours away, so let's see. So like I said, we talk about box sets on this show, and what's cool about box sets. So if your favorite band wants to put out a compilation or something like that to celebrate a previous album or just collect some stuff, a lot of times you can get live versions of songs with extended jams. You can get unreleased tracks, stuff from the sessions that they decided not to release at the time that maybe they want to get out there for super fans. A lot of times they'll contain artwork, booklets with pictures and extended liner notes, and they're also a lot of times limited edition. So if you're a collector, that's, really cool thing to have. That's the monologue, so let's talk about box set news. What do we got on box set news? Ace Frehley's got a box set, and we decided, it just came out a few days ago.
It did the end of March, yeah.
It's called the 21st Century Singles Collection, and it is... There it is, so you can see it there. It's got 7 colored vinyl, 7-inch singles with a bunch of Ace stuff on it. I'm going to zoom in here on this picture so you can kind of see what's in it. I better not do it that way. Yeah, let's do it that way. Whoa. So we've got a yellow one, purple, light blue, dark blue, silver, gray, orange. Comes in a little box there. 21st Century Singles Collection. It's got a cover of White Room by Cream. So we talked about Cream last week, so that's kind of a cool little tie-in. One of my favorite Cream songs. It's also got a cover, Ace's cover of a Free song, Fire and Water. And Ace Frehley was, of course, the guitarist for Kiss when they first came out, up until, gosh, I don't know what year it was when he left the band. Done a couple reunions since then, but done a lot of solo stuff too. This one's got 2 Kiss covers on it, Cold Gin and Parasite, and the thing's going to retail for $125. So if you're a Kiss fan or an Ace fan, you might be interested in that. Check it out. I have...
Are you an Ace Frehley fan, Sid? I know you're a guitar guy.
I loved Kiss. Kiss was kind of like my first favorite rock band. I saw them back in 1979 when I was 10 years old in the 4th grade. I really like some of the stuff that Ace has done. Cold Gin is a song that actually the Pantera covered. I think is that on an album, on their live album? I can't remember if it's on the live album or not, but I know that there's some YouTube videos of Pantera covering Cold Gin, so that's pretty cool. And then my other favorite song by Ace, Kiss, Shock Me. I love the groove on that one. And what's the other one? Oh, my brother was really into Ace Frehley when we were kids. When they put out their solo albums, he got the Ace Frehley solo album, and there was a song on there called New York Groove that he used to like to jam out to on the record player all the time. So that's really cool.
That's cool. It really ties into what we're doing today too, talking about Pantera, because Dimebag Darrell of Pantera is I think he had 2 biggest guitar influences, which were Ace Frehley and Eddie Van Halen.
So that's, like I said, that just came out. If you're interested, scope it out. If anybody else knows of any cool box sets coming out, put a link in the chat or something, and we'll try to cover that next time. And we are going to go to our feature artist. And we already kind of talked about Pantera in the opening monologue. And the stuff that we're going to cover today, on my end, I've got, if you look on the right side of the screen there, you'll see that Texas-shaped box. So Cowboys from Hell was the debut album by Pantera, and they put out these, I think it was it 20th or 25th? What does it say on there? Does it say?
On this one here?
Yeah.
Where would it say that at?
I don't know. Oh, here I got it on the. Okay, it came out in 2010.
Oh, there you
So
go.
it must be the 20. It was the 20th. We'll say 20th anniversary, since that way we'll say the original one came out in 1990.
Yep.
So we've got that. They actually put out 3 versions of the box set on that one. There was a basic one, I think, with just the CDs, and then there was the Texas shaped box, which I've got to show you here, and then there was an Ultimate Collector's Edition, which came in a rectangular box, but it had some different stuff in there, like some different flyers and whatnot that came along with it. So we'll be showing off the Texas shaped one today, and then the second thing on the right hand of the screen there is the Cowboys from Hell demos, and so these are the demo versions of the songs that were on that major label debut, Cowboys from Hell. This came out as a Record Store Day release back in 2010 as well, and so I have a sealed copy of that we'll talk about, and then Jake's got some goodies to show off as well that we'll talk about.
All right, so what are we starting with?
Let's start with the Texas box.
All right. It's back on. I'll show this here.
All right. We need the. Okay, I think better be on.
There you go.
All right, we need some focus.
He's going to adjust the camera here. Just 1 second.
All right, that's probably good.
This is extremely cool. I didn't know you had this. This is,
Well,
I mean, this is something.
I know, now you're going to break into my house and steal it. So this one comes with the 2 CD version of the 20th anniversary of Cowboys from Hell, and then it's got
Still wrapped
That's
because Sid's Nazi doesn't open anything he owns. Just,
what's the
there's the
does
flask.
the label on there say anything cool?
Oh, well. Original album newly remastered. Disc 2, that's this one. Disc 2 is Live from Foundation Forum, Metal Convention 1990, and Monsters in Moscow Festival 1991. This print is so small for my old man eyes, but
Well,
I read what I could.
yeah, that's cool.
You get a flask here. Also unopened.
I think you can probably open that one. I just kept it in the box.
It's like, oh no, I use that. For sure. Oh, that is... Got the iconic Cowboys from Hell CFH logo there. Which has become pretty notorious and a tattoo a lot of people seem to get.
Mm-hmm.
Even Tommy Buckley, the drummer for Crowbar and Soylent Green, has it tattooed on him. So, pretty iconic logo. Yes, at any time I get to mention Soylent Green and Crowbar, I'm going to do it. So, and here's a shirt, probably unworn.
Oh,
Now, every time I have bought anything with a shirt in it, it's always massive. Yep, 2X. I don't know if you got other... Oh, that's... Yeah, that's... I can't really get this. There you go.
so the deal with this, I've actually got the focus up just a couple inches in front of you there. If you want to scoot it up this way a little bit. Yeah, like that.
There you go.
So,
That's okay. They don't want to see me anyways.
so the story with this is that when these box sets came out, I don't know what I was doing at the time, but I wasn't quite on the ball, and I didn't get one when they came out. I ended up having to get these later on eBay because I didn't realize that they were going to sell out as quick as they did. They didn't sell out instantly, but they did sell out by the time I got around to sitting there and going, oh, okay, I'm going to buy this. It was maybe like 6 months afterwards or so, and I ended up having to get these off the eBay, and so this Texas box here, I have been looking on eBay for one of these for about 15 years at least, and this is the only one I've ever seen go up on eBay. It has, so that's why I took what I could get, and like you said, the shirt is what, 2X or something like that.
Yep.
So if I would have bought one when these came out, I would have got an XL. If I would have bought one of these now, I would get a large because I have shrunk down since then. But either way, the shirt's unworn, still has that new shirt smell to it. So wasn't there some pics in there too? I think
there are. Wow, good call there. I did not even see these. Yeah, I did not even see these in there. They were underneath the belt buckle.
Set of 4 picks on the thing, so
that's kind of better. There you go.
So that's pretty cool.
Unused, of course.
Wow, the camera just froze up on me for some reason. Look at that.
Did it freeze on you?
That's bizarre. I wonder if the battery's dead. Hold on.
Sorry guys, if you can still hear us talking,
Christ.
having a bit of an issue here.
Yeah, it's
Just
the
1
battery.
second.
All right, so
Well, that's okay. We'll just stop using this, and we can show things to this camera.
Yeah,
that's all.
at least we
Sorry about that.
At least we got one thing on the second camera there, so that's cool. I'll remember to charge the battery for next time. But hey, for somebody who's never done anything with video before on broadcast, perspective, I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. So.
All right. So, what do you want to show? This is your show. It's up to you what we show.
So next, let's talk about that RSD release.
All right. So I'll pull this out. Also, unopened. Probably listen to this online though, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Let me take this out of the wrapping. That way there won't be so much. The package there. That way there won't be so much glare. There you go. Yeah, you can kind of see
Camera's
that.
over there, so yeah, that's good. That's good. I believe this is kind of like a representation of the
Track
original
listing
cover
or-
art, but with the background changed to like a pencil drawing, sort of, or a marker drawing of the original cover. So that's kind of cool. And we said this came out in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, The Will to Survive is a previously unreleased demo cut.
Which I have not heard, and I really want to.
This was limited to 3,000 copies, and it was available only at the Black Friday RSD back in 2010. So let's see what else we can say about that here.
It's a really cool set. It's that the whole thing is demos, right? Of the album. It's all
Yeah, so
it's all demo track. Anyways, I have a bit of a scratchy throat thing going on, so I've got this bad cough. So apologize for that if I pause every now and then. Springtime in Nebraska, so.
all right, so as I mentioned before, that one's sealed. It'll get opened someday. Maybe if I ever get to retire. What else? So now you brought some stuff.
I brought 3 things.
So Let's see what you brought.
Sid knew I was going to bring stuff. I mean, Pantera, they're in our list of. We usually say Pantera's a top. They're at least in my top 5. Sid, for you, where would they be? Bands for you?
Probably top 5. Yeah, if we're talking metal for sure.
Okay. Well, they have such a unique. There's so many metal bands that sound the same. When you hear Pantera, you know it's Pantera.
They do have their own distinct sound, and that's really, I mean, not just from the songwriting perspective. They have their own songwriting style. They have their own sound and guitar tone, and of course, Dimebag Darrell has his own unique guitar style, which if you didn't know it, you might not know that he is not really so much of a theory nerd as you might think, because he plays all kind of crazy progressive stuff. But I have his guitar instruction book, and a lot of it really revolves around things like pentatonic scales and stuff like that. There's not a lot of weird chords or anything like that, but his speed is just amazingly blazing. So
yeah, for sure. So first thing I'm going to show off is this was released in. Let me look at the date here. There's no. I'm going to say it was probably released maybe early 2010s. There's no actual year on this. However, I am going to cover up this image. I believe it's a release.
Was that an RSD?
It might have been. But it is a 2 LP album of the original album cover of their Far Beyond Driven album, which if you go by their major label, it's their 3rd album. And I'm covering it up because the album that got released was a skull with a kind of drill through its head. This is an asshole with a drill in it. That's why I'm covering up for the YouTube censorship there. But when you open it up, here's what the... Jeez, let me put this over here. Can't see where the camera is. There you go. There's the normal cover there. That's usually there. There you go. So, and track listing on the back. It's a 2 LP, so 4 sides altogether. Sid, you're a big fan of this album? I'm kind of assuming.
Yeah, I think, when you're talking about, if I had to pick my favorite Pantera album, probably be this one. Probably be Far Beyond Driven, just because, I guess when it comes to metal, I like all different kind of things, but what I really love is songs and riffs that are a little bit slower and a little bit thicker, and a little... That just makes it overall a little more heavy to me. And so on this album, 5 Minutes Alone, I'm Broken, those are probably my 2 favorite songs off of it.
And, sorry, Sid, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the story with the cover art is...
Oh yeah, it's goofy. I'm not a fan, but I just thought it was kind of cool when I saw it at a record store. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's the original album art.
When they did this, they shot 2 covers, and the one that came out is the one with the drill bit in the guy's head, piercing a man's forehead, and then the other one, the same drill bit penetrating something else, and that Jake already talked about. So of course they decided to go with the first one for the original album release. Apparently the label initially approved the art that Jake just showed, but then some other executives at the label kind of freaked out, and so the manager had to go tell the band that they changed their mind on it, so they ended up doing the blue cover with the drill bit in the guy's head instead.
I think that was the better choice, to be honest. I think that was the better choice, to be honest. I think it's a cooler cover, honestly. But yeah, what I was going to say before I almost interrupted you was we can't talk about this album without talking about the fact that this album went to #1 on Billboard when it came out.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy to think. If you were growing up back in that time, heavy metal, when it first came out, 70s and 80s, it was kind of big, and then the 90s, I mean, it was still big, but I guess, especially here in the Midwest, maybe it was more of a thing, but you really didn't see, I guess, heavier metal bands like that come to the forefront. And that was really at a time when hair metal was just coming out, or not just coming out, it had been out for a while in the 80s, a lot of hair metal bands. And so if you talked about heavy metal, saying like 87 or 88 to the mainstream metal fan, mainstream rock fan, you weren't hearing that stuff on the radio, and maybe a lot of people didn't know about this band. Which just goes to show, that they had a pretty huge underground swell of support late 80s and early 90s with the Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power albums, so that when this album came out, was it like the first metal album to debut at #1?
It did, it debuted at #1. I should have specified that. Yeah, it debuted at #1, which, for people that don't know, like Sid was kind of saying, mid-90s, like, alternative and grunge were what was the big thing as far as rock goes. Obviously, there was pop and stuff, but, it was really alternative and, grungy, Nirvana and Soundgarden and all that. Like, that was what was big. So for this to debut at #1 was kind of out of nowhere. So I'll show off my other thing here.
So Anna says the Pantera one's not as bad as a couple Type O records. So I don't know if you've seen the vinyl art for the Type O negative albums. But
I think I have, yeah. For the I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, it's a similar shot. So I think I know what she's talking about. So I should say my favorite song on Far Beyond Driven here. I mean, I would have to go with it. It is not Good Friends in a Bottle of Pills, I'll tell you that. I don't know. Does any Pantera fan like that song? The 1 week. Slaughtered. Yeah, and then I love their cover of Planet Caravan,
that is awesome.
Old Sabbath song. So
yeah, so the cover of Planet Caravan, I remember, again, back in the 80s when I bought that cassette tape, the Black Sabbath Paranoid album, and I heard that and I thought it was like really cool. I just kind of felt like I was the only one that knew about it at that time, like, because I grew up in a small town and there wasn't a lot of metal fans up there anyway. And I just thought, man, I wonder if I'm the only person who knows about this song. I think it's cool because nobody else ever talked about it.
yeah.
And I've probably felt that way up until Pantera came out with it on a record, and I thought, God damn. In fact, I may have even felt a little jealous, I don't know, because I thought maybe if I had a band someday I was going to cover it, but they beat me to it, so.
All right, so here's the other, a couple other things I want to show off. Here's one. So I picked this up. This is part of the Dynamo concert series. Pantera Live at Dynamo. Oh, that glare there. All the guys there. There's Vinny. This is backwards. Dime. Rex. Phil right there. Great set list. And this sounds great, by the way. Live albums can be hit or miss with me and with a lot of other people. But this sounds amazing. As far as production-wise, and it's got a great set list. I mean, Suicide Note Part 2, which they always played live, which is a really heavy song. Becoming, which is kind of one of their more fan favorites on Far Beyond Driven. Primal Concrete Sledge, I'm Broken, Domination and Hollow, both on one track. And Cowboys from Hell, the song closes it off there. Yeah, great track. Here's this opening here. It's just kind of the same thing. It comes with a poster. Jeez, I cannot get this to...
It's because the camera's over there and you're looking over here. You gotta kind of... Oh, I guess you got it.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, there's the... Right there. There's the poster that comes with it, if you can even see it. I didn't want to... It's not in here because it's very hard to pull out and all that stuff. But yeah, great album, and it sounds great. It's from 1998 is when the performance is from. Dynamo was... Is it still... Dynamo still a thing, Sid, you know? It was a big festival at one point.
I haven't heard of it lately.
Yeah. Okay, so last thing here that I've got... This is a repress. This isn't an original, so it'd be cooler... Be a lot cooler if it was. Dazed and confused there. So, I thought this was kind of cool because I have not seen another copy of this repress ever since I bought it. It's, look at the youngins there. It's a pre-Cowboys from Hell Pantera repress of their, I should say the first album with Phil, Power Metal. You did a very different look than what they would go on to look like later on. But Dime still, I mean, pretty much sounds like Dime on this record.
Yeah. Is that... Oh. So we got Phil, we got Vinny.
Yeah, Phil's there next to Vinny. And you got Rex Rocker as he was known. Rex Brown's his actual name, is the bassist. And then Dime... Nope, because this is backwards. There's Dime right there with the big hair. Some people call this a glam metal album. I don't really think it sounds like that at all. It definitely doesn't sound like the more brutal, really heavy stuff they went on to make the very angry sounding stuff. Sorry about that. I'd say it's a mix of like thrash, a little bit of new wave of British heavy metal in there, and maybe a little bit of the poppier glam stuff because there is a ballad on there. So, but yeah, I it's hard for me to say it's a glam album. You know, you've heard it. What's your take on it?
I mean, I haven't really heard much of it. I think the tendency probably is to just sort of categorize the two different eras of Pantera that way. Like they went from glam to heavier and so.
Glam-tera, yeah.
Power metal is kind of in that sort of transitionary period where their sound was changing. Phil does have the denim vest on over his leather though, so that's what a lot of people wore in the underground. So that's another sign that their sound was kind of changing just from what he's got on. But this came out in June of 1988. And as we mentioned, that is the lineup that the band would keep until they officially split up in 2003.
Did they ever officially break up? Really? I mean, kind of seems like they left their final tour and just...
They kind of, I guess maybe you could say they just sort of fell apart.
Yeah.
But,
nice. That's a nice way of putting it. The band kind of had some feuding over the last few years, which is sad.
I'm just checking this out, and I guess Dimebag had on that album, you said he was known as Diamond Darrell.
Yep.
Also, he did vocals on one song.
PST 88.
So that's pretty wild.
He sounds a lot like early James Hetfield of Metallica.
Really?
Yeah. If the lyrics are horrible and they're very cringy, especially in today's world, but it's an interesting song to hear because I think Dime could have gone on to be a vocalist in his own band. I think, yeah. But he does sound really similar to James. So I don't know if that was maybe that wasn't the best idea, but. Yeah, and Phil has a very Rob Halford, Judas Priest sound in his voice on this album too. Which again, that's not very glam at all. So.
Yeah. All right. let's see. What do you have more
Those
Pantera
are my-
stuff? Or?
Those are my three.
Okay. So we're going to set up the Radio Nerd feature. I said this was 354. Is that what the number is on there?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Okay. There's no entry.
Yep, 354.
All right. Well.
354, 1990, November 9th.
Okay. So, all right, we're going to move on to our Radio Nerd feature here, and I'll explain what that is. So, I'm a radio nerd. I love listening to the radio. I have since I was a kid. I grew up out in the country and didn't have a lot to do other than play outside or listen to the radio. And so I listened to the radio a lot. Kind of fell in love with it, and now at the ripe young age of 53, I'm going to graduate with a degree in radio from Iowa Western. I've collected thousands of radio shows over the years on all different formats. Vinyl, lots of vinyl. I got a few reel-to-reels. I've got a couple cassette tapes and a lot of CD radio shows. So if you're listening to, like, one of the big things back in the day, as an example of something that might be more familiar to people, is Rockline. So that was on Monday nights for an hour and a half, and it was where they would have a band on each week, and people from around the country could call an 800 number, and if they were selected, ask a question to their favorite artist or the artist that was on that week. And so another one that I really liked is called Metal Shop. So this one, I started listening to Z92 on Saturday nights. I'd heard that they had a show called Metal Shop on at 11 o'clock on Saturday nights. And the first few weeks that I tuned in, it was one of these Z92 DJs just playing heavy metal songs for 2 hours. So their format included heavy metal, but they didn't play heavy metal exclusively. But for this 2-hour block, it was just heavy metal. And then about the fourth week in, it changed. It was now it was a nationally syndicated program called Metal Shop that they were playing. So I'm not sure how the title played out, if they knew that the nationally syndicated one was coming along and they decided to start playing metal in that time slot to prime people, or if it was just a coincidence, but I thought that was really interesting. So the nationally syndicated one was a formatted radio show, had different segments, interview segments, bands talking about various things, interviews, as well as a top 5 that was sprinkled throughout the shows called The Week's Most Valuable Metal. And so anyway, why don't we dig that out and show that off, show the vinyl off, and then I'll play a clip from it.
Pull this out here. There's the, why is this a plain white thing there? I'll get out this.
So, like I said, these were distributed to radio stations on vinyl, and then along with a what's called a cue sheet, which has the rundown of the timing of everything on there, so that the DJ, when they're playing these on the air, they knew when to insert the local commercials and flip the record and all that good stuff. Why don't we show off the cue sheet there? I guess, yeah, since it's way back there, you're going to have to...
Yeah, it's pretty small print, guys. Sorry about that.
I don't know if you can see it or not, but so it lists out all the tracks and stuff like that. And so, general idea. Anyway. So, and I picked this Metal Shop one. This is show 354, 1990, November 9th. Week of was when that one aired. And I picked this one because it's got a clip. Let's see, the clip is called Star's Choice. So this segment of the show is where somebody in the heavy metal world would come on and pick a song to play until about why they like it and stuff like that. So in this particular case, was Phil from Pantera playing, is it Sinner's Fame? A Sinner's
Trouble.
Fame.
Trouble, A Sinner's Fame.
By Trouble. We mentioned Trouble last week too, actually, on the Cream Show, because Trouble covered Tales of Brave Ulysses on their debut album. And so now we're talking about Trouble, tying in with Pantera this week on the Metal Shop program. And Trouble, I guess they were called doom metal.
Rest in peace, Eric Wagner.
Yeah. They were actually, when they first came out to people, a lot of times thought they were a Christian metal band per se. They did, quote Bible verses and had a lot of that stuff in their lyrics, but they never, anytime anybody asked them about it, they were like, well, we're not really a Christian band. We just, we have that stuff in our music, but I don't think they wanted that to be the focus of it. And anyway, so I have the intro to that segment on here that I'm going to play. And here we go.
Now it's time for Star's Choice, and Pantera lead singer Phil Anselmo has just moshed his way into the Metal Shop studio, so while I remove all the breakables from the neighborhood, I'll let Phil spin one of his favorite cuts.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. I'd like to hear Sinner's Fame by Trouble. Slow, heavy, and emotional. Period, man. This just rules. Trouble rules, man.
All right, that's Phil from Pantera on the syndicated radio show Metal Shop from back in 1990.
He's right. Trouble do rule. I mean, they do.
Yeah, he knows what's up. If anybody else has got any thoughts about radio shows or whatever, put them in the chat too. We can talk about it next time. Like I said, I'm really a big radio nerd and everything. Radio, right? Got a couple of radio kids from Iowa Western here on the show today, so. So that is everything we wanted to cover today, I think.
Yep.
So we're going to wrap up here, and next time we will be streaming again next week. Not sure what day yet. Maybe Monday, maybe Wednesday afternoon, probably right around this same time. And this will be episode 5 coming up next week. That will be the last one I need to do for this semester. And we are going to talk about Soulfly and Sepultura. I've got some really special stuff to show off next week, and it's going to blow your mind. Jake's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow the audience's mind. It's going to blow everybody's mind.
I don't have anything special from these bands.
Well, you'll just...
I have a couple records, but...
people watching your mind blow up on screen is going to be quite enough for the show. That's all you got to do is just ooh and ah when I show off my cool stuff I got. You'll be like, wow, dude.
I have one cool thing that's Max related. I can bring that, but not Soulfly or Soulfly. It's Max related. It's one of his other bands. But
right on. Anna says, hell yeah, she's stoked for the Soulfly, and
thanks for watching,
Anna. You're really gonna dig it. So that's it for today. For the Third Eye Heavy Collector's Corner, look for us again. I'll put out a notice and get the stream scheduled when we know which day it's going to be on, but it'll be next week. Anna says she just got Totem on vinyl. On vinyl at Homer's the other day with the gift card I gave her.
Apparently, it's the only place you can go. With Jurassic Plastic closing, it's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into it on here.
Oh, yeah, we heard about that. So, Totem on vinyl. That's far out. That's awesome. So, yeah, we'll talk more about that next week then, with the Sepultura, Soulfly, Cavalera-centric sort of discussion we'll have. Alright, so we'll go ahead and wrap up for today for the Third Eye Heavy Collector's Corner. I am Sid.
Jake?
Uncle Jake?
No.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out for next time. So
Thanks for
next
having me
week-
on again, man. This was
Thanks for hanging out.
mutual favorite band of ours. So
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We'll do it. We'll do it next week. Talk to y'all later.
thanks for watching.
We're out.
How long is that? 4 o'clock.
So about 40 minutes. Yeah. I'm gonna let this play out, then I'll stop it. I just wanted to get it. I mean, I wasn't as prepared as I wanted to be for this one, but I wanted to get it done because I need to get it done. And I don't think it was that bad without any preparation. We got a lot of stuff. We could have talked about more stuff, but the point of it is to show off what I got, not to necessarily put a lot of facts out there, you know. So
Yeah.
I think we did good.
I always try to keep it conversational. If anyone who watches this is gonna want to know what favorite tracks, you know,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Except for this one, I don't really have a favorite track. And yeah, I made the mistake of watching the lyric video to PST because I wanted to know what Dime was saying. And then I was like, well, that was a mistake.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's. Can they hear us? Or no?
No.
With the music going? Dude, it's literally him just going like, he's like, yeah, your pussy's tight, yeah.